This is by far the most fun part of the presentation. It's the part where you get to breathe life into your story, get to know your audience, figure out their likes and dislikes. What am I talking about? Intros and conclusions. The bookends, the pillars, the most memorable parts of any presentation. People remember how you started and how you finished. My name is Sunil Modi, and today I'm going to teach you how to make amazing openings and closings that are dynamic, memorable, and reusable for any audience. Who am I and why should you care about what I have to say? That's exactly what most audiences are thinking. Hi, my name is Sunil Modi, and I'm a professional in the field of sales for over 10 years. And I'm simply here to teach you the art of public speaking, how to sell yourself, do it naturally and comfortably by finding your inner voice. It's the one thing that we all have, but it's either been forgotten or pushed down due to judgment and fear. I'm here to teach you how to find that inner voice so that you can connect with people effectively and build more confidence. At this point, I'm assuming that you've created the body of the presentation. If not, watch the video on constructing the body of a presentation. It's crucial that your main points of your presentation have been constructed at a bare minimum, since the body provides your tone, feeling, and attitude towards your topic. Introducing yourself, your speech, or your presentation is really no different than starting a conversation with someone. The biggest hurdle is coming up with the right thing to say to capture the attention of your audience. If you don't make the topic relevant to the person you're speaking to, or they don't make it relevant to you, interest is going to fade really quickly. Most people fade within the first 2 minutes of a presentation. Most of your audience, probably much like yourself, is thinking, hurry up and get to the point. Otherwise, I'm out of here. That is, until I make it relevant to you, the audience. I'm going to give you the tools to get over your anxiety. Remember that presentations and speeches are all about giving relevancy and engaging the audience. The earlier and more frequently that I refer to you, the audience, and the frame and the context that appeals to you, the more likely you are to pay attention. And finally, I like the idea of having a slogan, a message, or a statement that is both short and simple to remember. The example I use is by giving others a voice, we make way for change. What is that? By giving others a voice, we make way for change. That means by giving you the ability to convey your ideas, you now have a voice to convince others that your opinion is correct. The goal of any introduction is to get the attention of the audience. All eyes on you, and hold these eyes the entire time. The introduction is incredibly important. However, fear not. It's not the end-all be-all of your presentation. If you falter here, you can always come back. It is not the end of the world. There are 3 main components to any presentation, and they are in no particular order. I personally think it's your name, what you're going to talk about, and what your credibility is. The order, again, doesn't matter. However, the components do matter and should be delivered in the first 2 minutes maximum. Every effective leader ensures that the audience and the peers and the employees who they're communicating with all know his or her name. The next point, who are you and why are you speaking to me? What gives you the right or the experience to tell me anything? And finally, what do you want to say? What is it that you want your audience to think about at the very end, and what action do you want them to take? We'll come back to that action component because, again, it's very important. Presentations, just like art, are a form of personal expression. Picasso, Michelangelo, Dali, all had vision in their minds and all had delivered works of beauty. Public speaking is no different. It took them years of practice, years of mistakes to figure out what method works best for them and to show the world what their message was. Presentations are no different. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing today? That opening signals energy and enthusiasm. Notice the intonation and inflection, and at the end, the tone and the pitch. Talk about the time of the day, talk about the significant event that might have just happened. Whatever it is, try and relate to the audience on a level that's common with everyone in the room. Another method to try, stating the importance of your topic. Give me numbers, give me figures. People always can relate to those. For example, 3 in 4 people, 75% of the population. Doesn't matter whether you're an introvert, doesn't matter whether you're an extrovert, doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're a woman, doesn't matter if you're an adult or child, you suffer from this one thing. And the cause of the suffering is both simple and complex. But the good news is that it can be overcome with practice. What am I talking about? talking about the fear of public speaking. This kind of introduction gets the audience thinking about the numbers. Am I one of them? Could I be the one he's talking about? I better pay attention. Oh man, I think that fear applies to me. I'm hooked. Another method to try is startling the audience. You're all looking at me, judging me. It's perfectly natural. We judge in order to protect ourselves. It's a survival instinct. Some of you look at me like an enemy, and your brain's natural response is to start generating negative thoughts about me, or maybe if you've thought of me as an enemy, you've already flipped off of this channel and gone somewhere else. Maybe some of you like me, and I come across as a friend. Your brain waves are telling you and giving you ideas and images that convey friend and similarities. However, the reality is that in this world that we live in, we generally don't have feelings towards most of the people in the world. We're indifferent. The baristas at the coffee shop, the people we pass on the street, even people within your school or office. How do we get through the vast majority who don't care? We practice on how to relate to all walks of life. By telling you what you might be thinking, I'm literally trying to tell you what you are thinking. Again, the thought is evoked, is he talking about me? There is no right or wrong way to start a presentation. However, there are some ways that I would strongly caution on how to use a few of these methods. Asking the audience is by and large the most common. However, if you are going to ask questions, ask a series of questions that lead the audience to what your message is. The reason being, if you just ask a single question, sure, they'll answer, but that doesn't really tell them what you're going to talk about. Asking them 2 to 3 questions starts getting their minds framed in the proper direction to pay attention to the topic you're talking about. Starting with a quote can be really effective, and it can become the slogan or motto of your presentation. If you're going to use a quote, make sure it's under 10 words, something easy to remember, and use it throughout the entire presentation. Why? Because by giving others a voice, we make way for change. Use it frequently, use it often. You can also tell a personal story, and it's a great way to get the audience emotionally involved. When you're telling a story, think through the setting, the place, more importantly, the emotion and the problem that was solved. Give as much detail as possible, but also keep it short. It takes a lot of practice to tell the right kind of story. Going into the body at the time of the situation or the problem hooks the audience into wanting to know more. Other methods, we can simply just acknowledge the fact that we're even at the event or the occasion. Or simply just tapping the microphone can help get the audience's attention. The goal is to get the audience's attention, all eyeballs on you, and hold those eyes the entire time. I'm going to tell you one thing about telling a joke. Make sure it's clean, make sure it relates to your topic, and make sure it doesn't offend anyone in the room. Those are incredibly important. And also, test it out on a few people to actually make sure that it's funny. You may think it's funny, but everyone else might think it's pretty bad. Be careful with jokes. Just a few closing tips for the introduction. Keep the introduction short, 30 seconds to 2 minutes max. Actively look for material in the room to use that relates to your topic. Engage with the audience, find out what groups they belong to, find out what memberships they have, and figure out if you can incorporate those into your presentation. Be creative and experiment. Try new things that might work in class and see how other students respond to that. If you don't have a class, try it with your friends, try it with your family, try it with people that you're not familiar with to see if that introduction worked with them. Don't worry about the intro until after you're done with the body. Reason being, if you try and force yourself to do the intro without having done the body of the presentation, you're inevitably going to force yourself to stall and not even progress with your presentation. It's just as difficult as trying to write the first sentence of your novel. Start with the main points of your novel, and the main introduction will come after time. Practice the intro over and over and over again until you're really comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with it, you're not ready to present. Because my motto is, you present the way that you practice. And ensure that before you begin, all eyes are on you. If the audience's eyes are not on you, do something to get their attention. Good morning. Good afternoon. Be loud. Talk to them. Ask questions. Make sure their eyes are on you. Okay, so now we're at the conclusion. Signal that this is the conclusion. In conclusion, let me say, or let me end by saying, as we near the end, in final closing thoughts or remarks, what we do is we reinforce a central idea. Today we talked about the introductions and the conclusions. Good introductions, cautionary introductions, and some tips on how to improve your introductions. By giving others a voice, we make way for change. End with a quotation. This sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, but it's up to you. and you'll feel your own flow if you want to use this or not. It's a great go-to way to close your presentation. Just make sure it relates to your topic. I am of the ilk, however, to make sure that the audience walks away with something. The reason being is that you want the audience to think about your presentation once they walk out the room. Sure, they've seen that last quotation and they'll remember it, but guaranteed 5 minutes after they leave, they will forget it. They will go right to the bathroom, they'll go get coffee, they'll go in their cars and think about traffic, what's for dinner, who they're meeting. All the flurry of thoughts will invade their minds again. Make them focus on a task. And my task for you at the end of this presentation, I want you to watch videos of speakers that you like, take careful notes, watch their introductions, see how they engaged the audience. Did they engage the audience? What was their body language? And did their message and point get made? That's what I want you to study to know how your voice will be conveyed in your presentations. My voice is conveyed the way I like to present. Yours will be different than mine. Thank you very much. My name is Sunil Modi, and this has been Introductions and Conclusions by Silicon Valley English. Remember that by giving others a voice, we make way for change. Join us next week, and we'll talk about transitions from one talking point to another.